When danger is imminent, strike first, strike fast, strike with authority, and keep the pressure on. If your current martial art or reality-based self-defense system doesn't teach the first strike methodology, you're at a huge disadvantage in a street fight. The reality is simple. Action will always beat reaction. In a life-threatening self-defense situation, waiting to react puts you behind the curve, often fatally. Hesitation allows your attacker to dictate the flow of the encounter, leaving you scrambling to catch up, a position you never want to find yourself in. The first strike principle isn't just a tactic. It's a street fighting survival strategy, and it's the cornerstone of my contemporary fighting arts combat system. It's what separates those who survive from those who don't. A properly executed first strike instantly shifts the balance of power in your favor, neutralizing the immediate threat and overwhelming your opponent mentally and physically. Today, I'm sharing something exclusive with my YouTube community. 2 never-before-revealed first strike techniques. Now, while my books and instructional videos cover a wide range of powerful first strike strategies, these specific techniques are being shared here as a thank you for showing up, engaging, and being part of this journey. This is my way of giving something extra to my dedicated YouTube audience. You're not just viewers, you're the foundation of this community. Now, before we dive into these 2 exclusive techniques, if you're serious about taking your training even further, make sure to check out my books, First Strike and Sinister Self-Defense. These resources break down the foundational concepts like the first strike stance, the Gemini principle, selective semantics, and so much more. All of this knowledge is interconnected, and the more you understand, the better prepared you'll be when it matters most. If you're finding this video helpful, make sure to smash the like button. It's a simple way to support the channel and also let me know that you want more content like this. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the notification bell so you never miss a lesson that could actually make a difference in a real fight. And finally, if you know someone who could benefit from this knowledge, be sure to share this video. It might just help them stay safe. Together, let's spread the word about real self-defense. The importance of striking first cannot be overstated. In a real fight, there's no referees to step in, no rules to protect you, and certainly no warm-up to prepare you. Everything is raw, unpredictable, and often unforgiving. The aggressor, by initiating the confrontation, always has the upper hand, unless you take it away by acting first. Striking first is not about being reckless. It's about taking control of a chaotic situation and neutralizing the threat before it escalates beyond your ability to handle it. But here's the catch. Striking first is much more than just delivering the first blow. It requires a deep understanding of the pre-contact phase of self-defense, the critical moments before an actual fight becomes physical. This phase is where the real battle often begins. It's in these moments that you must navigate the go, no-go decision-making process, which is one of the most complex aspects of self-defense. You're not just assessing the assailant's intent, you're analyzing their body language, positioning, verbal cues, and potential weapons. This isn't a skill you can develop overnight. It requires extensive training and, more importantly, lots of full contact role-playing scenarios. You need to immerse yourself in these simulated situations that replicate the unpredictability and adrenaline dump of a real encounter. These scenarios should cover everything from verbal confrontations that escalate to moments of de-escalation where striking may not even be necessary. The goal is to ingrain the ability to read a situation, recognize when it's time to strike, and execute with precision, decisiveness, and the confidence to commit fully. Mastering this vital skill set is what separates someone who dominates a violent encounter from someone who becomes just another victim. It's about stacking the odds in your favor through preparation, practice, and relentless commitment to understanding the realities of real-world violence. Now, these two first strike techniques I'm about to show you require a foundational knowledge. So if you're not familiar with the first strike stance, its defensive and offensive capabilities, the selective semantics concept, or even my Gemini principle, a link to my earlier videos will appear in the corner of this video. Be sure to check them out, because without these critical elements, these techniques won't work as intended. Before showing you these first strike techniques, it's important to remind you that whenever you decide to launch a first strike, it will always be predicated on three requirements: the angle, the fighting range, and the use of force justification. In my earlier videos, I discussed the two first strike stances in my contemporary fighting arts system: the stance for punching kicking range and the stance for grappling range. Now today, we're going to focus specifically on techniques delivered from the grappling range first strike stance. Now previously, I demonstrated the devastating effectiveness of the short arc hammer fist and various elbow strikes. Today, we're going to explore two equally effective and precise techniques: the palm jolt and the stealth uppercut. Both the palm jolt and stealth uppercut are designed to neutralize a threat quickly, but they're not without serious consequences. A well-placed strike to the chin or mandible can cause jaw fractures, concussions, nerve damage, and knockouts due to the force affecting the brainstem. These strikes can also result in long-term issues like TMJ disorders, chronic pain, and even dental injuries. These are not techniques to be taken lightly. They're powerful tools for self-defense, but their use carries significant medical and legal implications if misused. Always ensure that your actions are both justified and necessary before employing these first strike techniques. First, we're going to cover the palm jolt. We're going to use it from the reference point of the first strike stance in grappling range. What we're going to do without any telegraphing at all is we're going to launch a palm heel directly under the chin, but we're not going to pull it back. We're going to launch it from exactly where the hands are. Again, as I've mentioned in my videos, you want to talk, gesticulate, you want to distract him, create a pattern interrupt. Usually the best time to strike is when he's about to answer your question. So from this positioning of our hands, what we're going to do is we're simply going to strike straight up. That's all it takes. You're aiming right for the tip of the chin. You could also hit the lateral side of the mandible. It'll cause a tremendous amount of damage, but I really think the sweet spot is the tip of the chin. Now, of course, in real combat, he's going to move, he's going to gesture, so you're going to have to time it properly. So again, for the palm jolt, we're going to launch it right here, and we're going to pop it back down, just like so. Now remember, as I mentioned before, you always follow through with other strikes. You compound the attack. This is just your initial first strike to let you get in and do the rest of the damage. The next technique is the stealth uppercut. Now, this is not like your typical uppercut that you would perform in boxing or MMA, or even a compound attack that we would use in reality-based self-defense. This technique is your first strike. So what you're going to do is you're going to actually have the hands face you. Your palms are facing you. Now, this is going to happen as if you're gesticulating. So palms will face him, and sometimes they can face you as you're talking and communicating. So with our palms facing up, all we're going to do is we're just going to use our shoulder and pop the uppercut right into the chin, just like so. The reason why it's called a stealth uppercut is because the hands and the technique are below his visual line. He doesn't even see it coming. There's no wind up. You don't need to lift with your legs or anything like that. It's just simply delivered with the shoulders. This is a devastating technique. And people think it has no power. Let me tell you, if you're on the receiving end of this, you're going to change that perspective real quick. Okay, it's time for your quiz. When would I use a palm jolt as opposed to a stealth uppercut? I'm going to give you 3 seconds to come up with an answer. The answer is one would be used over the other dependent upon your hand positioning. So if you're de-escalating in the grappling range and you decide it's a first strike, your hands are positioned like so, there's your palm jolt. If your hands, for any particular reason, are facing you in the course of gesticulating, there is your stealth uppercut. Very simple. Palms face him, palm jolt. Palms face you, stealth uppercut. These two techniques are just a glimpse into the power of the first strike principle and how it can change the dynamics of a real-world confrontation. Remember, it's not just about knowing the techniques. It's about understanding the mindset, the pre-contact phase, and the critical decision-making that leads up to the execution of these techniques. This is where true mastery lies. Let's be real. In the world of martial arts and self-defense, there's a staggering amount of garbage being taught. Techniques that look impressive in controlled conditions, but fall completely apart in the chaos of real-world violence. That's not what you're going to find here. On my channel, I focus exclusively on the cold, hard truths of what works and what doesn't when your life and the life of a loved one is on the line. Thank you for being part of my YouTube community. Together, we're exposing the myths, cutting through the nonsense, and focusing on what actually saves lives. Until next time, stay sharp, stay ready, and always remember, when danger is imminent, strike first, strike fast, and never look back.